Lawmakers in Augusta are dealing with a serious budget crisis.
Right now, MaineCare is spending $100 million over budget. One of the issues, 20% of the folks who are getting care spend 80%, or rather 87% of the total spending. Now, the state has also increased its MaineCare spending by 47% in order to account for a loss of federal funding. MaineCare predicts it's actually going to run out of money by early spring. Our Brad Rogers is in Augusta. He's following the story. He has more on the MaineCare budget crisis.
I've been clean for since 2005.
Jessica Finley is a recovering drug addict who is also enrolled in MaineCare, the state's Medicaid program. She and other Mainers in recovery rely on the drug Suboxone to wean them off their addiction. Thousands more rely on MaineCare for medical treatment. Finley is worried what will happen if MaineCare runs out of money in March.
My thoughts are there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be in trouble and in need of a lot of medical care, and it's not going to be there, and it's going to have bad results.
Over the last 10 years, MaineCare spending has increased by $1 billion in Maine, and the federal government keeps shifting more and more of the burden of those costs onto states.
We had to increase our state support for the program by 47% in order to account for the lost federal funds.
Health and Human Services Commissioner Mary Mayhew says the only answer is for the governor and incoming legislature to find money somewhere to keep MaineCare from running out of money.
You can't cut your way out of this size hole, but this problem and the size of this problem cannot be resolved entirely within the Department of Health and Human Services budget.
We have to make sure that every taxpayer dollar is held accountable.
Incoming Senate Majority Leader, Democrat Seth Goodall, says cutting people and programs off MaineCare is certainly not the answer.
And like private insurance, we need to move more towards preventative care, making sure people get the health care that they need so costs are lower. That's how we solve this problem.
Jessica Finley fears if MaineCare runs out of money and recovering addicts can't get their Suboxone, they'll start using again.
It's going to be unsafe, yes, very unsafe for those individuals, unfortunately.
Brad Rogers reporting tonight from Augusta. We have an update tonight on the New Hampshire couple accused of severely beating a child. Tonight, the child's mother, Jessica Linscott, and her boyfriend, Roland Dow, are waiving extradition, meaning they will be heading back to New Hampshire to face charges in the case. An official we spoke with says the couple will likely be back in New Hampshire within 72 hours after this morning's extradition. The couple was caught by investigators yesterday at Universal Studios in Florida.
New at 6 tonight, a union office shot up in central Maine.
According to police, somebody shot up the glass window in front of the IBEW office in Fairfield. This is what police found when they were called to the scene. A large glass pane with several bullet holes. A union rep says people were in the building at the time, but nobody was in the front lobby where the incident happened.
Now, officials continue to investigate this, what may have sparked this crime. If you have any information, police want to hear from you. Well, the Maine ACLU and New York's Brennan Center are asking for a federal investigation into potential voter intimidation. In the days after the election, Maine's Republican Party Chairman Charlie Webster stated that, quote, dozens of black people turned out to vote where nobody knew them. Webster made those comments during an interview on November 13th. He apologized shortly thereafter, but has threatened to do a so-called investigation on his own as a private citizen by mailing postcards to newly registered voters to see if the mail comes back, indicating, he says, potential fraud. The ACLU and the Brennan Center say if Webster were to do so, even as a private citizen, he would be violating federal voting rights and registration acts.
Mr. Webster is threatening to go after new registrants, particularly African-American registrants, to target them for harassment and intimidation because they decided to vote.
Now, when we reached out to Webster today, he declined to comment. He did tell our media partners at the Press Herald that he has not decided whether or not to send out those postcards. Today is his last day as Republican Party chairman. His replacement will be chosen in Augusta tomorrow.
Plans to shut down the Merck plant in Biddeford are finalized.
City officials are signing off on a move that will end an era, getting rid of a plant that some say has been a long time coming. Our Steve Roldan is live with the details now in Biddeford. Steve.
Well, Greg, city officials tell me it's both an historic and exciting day for the city of Biddeford, and they also say it's one that took a long time to get here. Now, city officials officially purchased the facility from the Casella Waste Systems earlier today. Now, the official purchase had been delayed because of environmental cleanup concerns. The city of Biddeford had bought the facility for just over $6.6 million and plans to decommission it. City officials will be closing the facility with the hopes of stimulating economic development in the downtown area with residential and business development. Now, one of the biggest problems with the facility downtown was the odor and noise pollution, and many hope that the closure of Merck will make the downtown area much more attractive.
This allows us, for the first time, to do two things. One is to pick up an 8.5-acre site right in the middle of the city that will be renovated into a high-level residential quality, and to two, allow for the first time a pretty open situation for businesses who want to come here.
A lot of excited people with the closure of this facility. I'm told right now they're going to start sending the trash over to the Westbrook facility on December 6th. And right now the plan is to dismantle the entire facility except the smokestack because it does house some cell phone towers. And I'm told the redevelopment of the facility could start in the next 6 to 8 months. So some exciting times for the city here. We're live here in Biddeford. Steve Roldan, News 13, back to you.
All right, sounds like they're going to be moving pretty quickly there, Steve. Thanks.
On the Crime Watch tonight, 2 men are under arrest for allegedly robbing pharmacies in Gray and Lewiston. Ryan White of Lewiston and Alexander Medore of Auburn are both behind bars tonight, charged with 2 counts of robbery. The first robbery took place on November 4th at the Rite Aid on West Gray Road in Gray. About an hour before that, the Rite Aid in Lewiston was hit. In both robberies, the suspects were after prescription pills. A Rhode Island man charged with driving drunk in a crash that killed his friend was in a York County courtroom today. A crash that killed his friend and fellow passenger. Christopher Bennett pleaded not guilty to manslaughter and OUI charges this morning. Police say Bennett and his friend Anthony Ciccone tried to force their way into a dorm on the UNE campus in Biddeford back in early September before jumping in an SUV and speeding away. That SUV later crashed into a telephone pole, killing Ciccone. Bennett's attorneys say that his client is devastated by what happened.
Chris and his family are both heartbroken over the accident, and Mr. Ciccone was a friend of Chris, and he's been going through some counseling to take care of this, and at some point they obviously would, if I allowed them, would send their condolences and offer their sympathies to the family. He's dealing with it as best he can.
Bennett is free on $25,000 bail and is living with his family in Rhode Island. A trial date has not yet been set. It's been 1 month since Hurricane Sandy slammed in the east coast of the United States, and the cleanup is far from over, especially in places like Long Island, New York.
And so students here in Freeport, Maine are doing what they can right now to help students in need down in Freeport, New York. Sandy caused a lot of damage to that community, including more than $1 million in damage to an elementary school. Take a look at some of that damage. Students and faculty members at Freeport High School here have started collecting money, gift cards, school supplies, all for victims of Sandy.
They're calling their fundraising efforts Freeport to Freeport, and they plan to deliver their donations in person to Freeport, New York sometime in January.
It's been great. I think the students are really rallying. They're excited about it, and the businesses out in the community are starting to come forward and say they really want to support it as well.
Faculty members here have been in touch with school officials in Freeport, New York, and they're very grateful for the help.
Now, if you'd like to make a donation, you certainly can. You can find out more information on our website. That's WGME.com.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Charlie DePresti.
All right, welcome back, everyone. The cold air continues to lead headlines tonight. It's going to be a cold one. The lows in the single numbers in teens. I've been tracking a bunch of clouds on the increase. A lot of these of the high-thin variety, thicker clouds off to the south. I captured some of these on our Raymond Skycam time-lapse. Notice a lot of high-thin clouds on the increase as the sun sets. That right there is Mount Washington, the snow-covered peaks of Mount Washington, where they picked up about 10 inches of snow up on the rock pile over the last 24 hours. 23 for a temp in Portland. Let's remember, we're still in November here. These are more like midwinter temps. temps. 18 for you in Lewiston. Most towns are in the teens and 20s, but lows tonight will slip into the teens and single numbers. Many inland towns are expected to slip into the single numbers. Many sheltered mountain valleys may actually be sub-zero by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. And the reason for that, the cold air has a firm grip on us. Remember the Arctic cold front that moved through last night? Well, it has stalled to our south. It's basically a little stationary boundary. The front will stall and remain stalled and eventually slip off to the north. And over the weekend, we will see some of this milder air work in, particularly during the second half of the weekend. Tomorrow looks to be one more cold day, and there will be some on and off snow showers. Even appear to light snow is expected by afternoon. Let's go through the forecast together. Starting off tomorrow morning, I expect some bright spots over northern and eastern areas here at the coastline. In southern areas, I expect mainly cloudy skies. Temps starting the teens to near 20 degrees, so a chilly start to the day. As we head through the afternoon, notice some blue showing up. That blue is a little bit of light snow and snow shower activity. I think it starts off as a little bit of flurry activity, then transitions to light snow. Only very light accumulations are possible. I'm thinking a coating to as much as an inch of snow. I think a nice day to get outdoors perhaps and maybe pick out a Christmas tree, sort of that sort of thing during the afternoon and evening. Now, as we head into the nighttime hours, I do have some concerns for travel because the coastline will see a transition over to plain old rain this late tomorrow night, actually 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, but probably by midnight or so we're seeing a transition over to some rain. Some inland towns, temps are still below the freezing mark, so a wintry mix of light freezing rain, light sleet, and light snow is expected. That could slicken up the roads a little bit. Some mountain towns will stay light snow through early Sunday morning. Now, Sunday itself just looks mostly cloudy. I don't anticipate any problems that day. And look at the temps rise to near 50 degrees. This really is amazing when you think about it. We're going to go from 30s tomorrow, lower 30s at that, to near 50 degrees only 24 hours later. So some mighty cool air to start the weekend and warm up by late in the weekend. How much snow are we expecting this through Sunday morning? A dusting to as much as an inch for most towns. Notice as you head back to the mountains, slightly higher amounts, up to 2 inches. Few areas in New Hampshire could get 2 to 4 back in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Light snow and snow showers tomorrow afternoon, transitioning over to light rain by tomorrow night. Again, some slippery travel is possible well inland, but it's very light, only light accumulation. Sunday, mostly cloudy, another round of rain showers Sunday night. Look at Monday, temps near 50 degrees. So, you know, the hat, the gloves, and the mittens, you know, the real thick jacket, you're going to need that one tonight, guys. It's going to be cold out there.
And put it away for Monday, I guess.
That's it. You can probably play golf or do whatever outside.
What a crazy week. All right. Thank you, Charlie. Thanks.